Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is part 3 of the shrub tour video I'm doing at this house I moved into late in 2019, and I've been landscaping during the 2020 growing season. It's almost September. I just mulched everything in the yard. I did a video, 2 videos from the backyard with all the shrubs and trees that I had added in that area. And then, like I say, this is part 3. This front space doesn't have a whole lot of shrubs and trees in it yet. I have a lot of pieces up here on my end of my driveway that are going to be planted this fall. Mostly, I put annuals out here. I took down a big red maple that was in this bed earlier this year that was diseased, needed to come out, and rather than come back in and plant shrubs immediately, I've let all that material from the stump being ground and that kind of thing break down a little bit before I start planting shrubs and trees back in this space. And so, like I say, it's been an annual bed this season, but I have started planting some shrubs in here recently, so I'm going to walk around real quick and show you. I'm going to do this north side of the front yard first, and then I'll move over to the south side. It's a very, very tiny front yard, kind of a postage stamp size lot in Raleigh, North Carolina, Zone 7B, about 2/10 of an acre, but it's being landscaped rather intensely. There's a the front lawn right here has a kind of a strange shape right this minute, but there is a path that's going to be going to the front door eventually. I'll show you that as I walk around. So this is the curb. I put this zoysia sod in recently, and I left this weird path up here to the steps, but there's actually going to be a path coming through here. There's a white little picket fence that's going to go right along the front right here, and the outside of the fence is going to be perennials and seasonal color. It's going to be a very bright space. I've already put some cone flowers right here, and some milkweed's been planted, but this will all be color on the outside of this fence. Just on the inside of the fence, I'm putting some things that will be evergreen things as backdrops. Well, there's a couple things that lose their leaves, but let's call them shrubs that will add some structure behind the fence, and then on the other side of that will be additional color. So this is the north side, I'm calling, of the front yard, and like I said, it's mostly that annual bed right there. I have put this ultraviolet buddleia in here, this butterfly bush. This is a really compact growing, densely compact growing variety of butterfly bush. I put this moon dance hydrangea in, and I had it in way too much shade, and I threw it out here in this front yard. This front yard really cooks. I mean, really, really cooks. And it immediately burned the foliage off that had been on it before. It's got new growth on it. Into the season, none of this matters. It'll come out in the spring and look perfect. This is one of those no panic situations. I put in 3 boxwoods here. These are baby gum boxwoods. I planted some of these at the old house as well, but they'll grow together in that line. It'll be right behind that little fence that's going in. This is a American beautyberry right here, and it is a white berrying one. It flowered and then it produced the berries. As soon as I put it out here, the bird stripped every berry that was on it very quickly, which is fine. That's the purpose of it, really. But this one's very upright and narrow. It is a Buddy Lee gave me this when I was down on the Gulf Coast. It's his variety. I don't think it'll be ever introduced, or no, I don't think there's a giant market for a white calicarpa. I may take some cuttings on this one myself and distribute them, because it is a nice plant. I've got an upright, narrow butterfly bush right here. It's actually not being introduced until next year. I will talk more about it later in the season, but it's not going to be widely available for another year probably. But as you can see, I think it will be very popular. You know, I can't even imagine having a butterfly bush that's that tame. That should be exciting next year to watch. And like I say, as soon as I know of anybody who has availability on it, I will let you guys know. There's an Arizona cypress right here in this container that has done absolutely fantastic, and really makes a great really has made a great container plant. I don't know what I'm going to do with this plant, actually. It gets too big for this yard. I'm probably going to shear it, you know, cut it back into more of a tighter Christmas tree shape, and probably keep it in this container for another year, then maybe give it to somebody. I've got a Cryptomeria in this other container right here called Limeade. This one was from the J.C. Ralston Arboretum that I got in a fundraiser last year. It's got kind of a gold hue to it. Super interesting little Cryptomeria. There's so many Cryptomeria varieties. I put a Nightlight Chamaecyparis in this space. This is pretty much the only shrub I've planted up here in this area where the roots were from that red maple. But this will be basically a gold ball in this spot closer up here toward the house. And I think the only other shrub I've planted, this is going to be a front porch going all the way across the front of this house right here. So these azaleas, these existing azaleas, and where that little retaining wall is, everything back there is going to be a porch. So that's coming, and that's why I don't really talk about that space, because those plants eventually, they're coming out, and some construction's going on there. This is it's actually a new gold arborvitae, but it's very, very similar to that Forever Goldie, but it's a more compact version of it. But if you can find Forever Goldie, it's very, very similar to this. But this little gold conifer should be a little bright spot up here. There's several perennials and things that I still have to move out of this space, but let's look back. You know, here's that annual bed right there. There's some holes here and there that Holly's responsible for. She's run through this bed a couple times. There was a deer out here one day that drew her attention, and she ran right through the middle of it. But the bed has looked pretty good. So I'm gonna slide across the turf here and show you the things that I've put in on this other side. This is African basil right here, which is not part of a shrub video, but that just went in recently, and look how much it's grown already. Pollinators love that African basil. There's another Nightlight Chamaecyparis over here, and a shrub I'm super excited about talking about now that I can start talking about it. This is the other new Encore azalea for next year. It's called Majesty. It's absolutely loaded up with flower buds. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see this thing start flowering pretty soon. I'm going to put some photos up here while I talk about it that I took at a trade show earlier this year. This is a purple flowering it has a double flower on it. Hardy Zone 6 to 10. I showed that Starburst in the last video, and this is Majesty. Those are the two that are being released. Starburst has the white and pink variegated flower, and this one has the double pink or double purple flower on it. You can see how heavily these actually flower. I've got one more on the driveway. I haven't decided whether it's going in the ground or not, but I am excited to see this thing flower in the next few weeks. Here's a new Indian hawthorn variety right here that's super disease resistant. A lot of the that's a burned leaf right there. Same thing I did right there that I did with that other plant. You put a plant in too much shade, and then you bring it out and throw it in the full sun. Indian hawthorns love full sun, but that leaf just wasn't ready for that. But look, there's zero spotting on this Indian hawthorn. I mean, it's just such an amazing variety. Here we are at the end of the season, and absolutely no leaf spot. Heck, anything in the rose family with no leaf spot this time of year is amazing. Okay, headed back toward the road. I got a little spot where the birds. I'm going to get better bird bass. You may have seen this in a couple videos, but right now I just have a few containers that they play in. This is an oak leaf hydrangea right here that I planted recently. It was just in like a 4-inch pot, but it's done a little bit of growing already. It's coming pretty quickly. This is a Niskim lilac that's, I guess, about almost 7 feet tall, maybe 5 to 6 feet in width. It did not bloom that well this year, and I don't know if it's because it's too much shade from the neighbor's red maple that also really kind of needs to go, or we had a very mild winter, and these lilacs need some winter chill hours to bloom well. So it may just have been a mild winter. We'll see. If it doesn't bloom well next spring, it may. I probably would come up with something better to go in that spot. There's a Shasta viburnum right here that looks great. I actually grew this one at my nursery from cuttings. I don't know how long ago. It's been a while since I had the nursery at this point, but that is a plant that I actually grew from a cutting, and man, that it's looking great right now. It's really taken to that spot pretty quickly. Backing off here, I put in 3 dwarf spirea. This variety is called Bonnie. Stays super compact, gets pink flowers on it. Just a little low mounding spirea in that space. Planted 3 camellias in the last couple weeks. I finally got a white shishi camellia right here. This is a dwarf spreading white flowering camellia. Look at all the flower buds that are on this one. I hope you can see that. It'll start blooming here. This is that one end of that one branch right there. This will start blooming in October. Pretty excited to see that. Flowers look amazing on this white shishi. Got a pink shishi right here, and an upright camellia here that has a pinkish red flower on it. This one's being released next year, but it's going to be in the October Magic series. But there's a lot of good camellias in that. The most similar to this one is October Magic Ruby, which is available right now. What was already here on this corner of the property line is this big abelia here that I need to cut in half. There's a bird in there right now. But it's flowered like crazy all summer. It seems perfectly happy here on this corner. Offers me a little bit of screening from people coming down the street. But it does need to be cut in half to be fuller. Same exact thing with this royal smoke tree here. I actually did a video standing in front of this one. It needs to be sawed off. Just absolutely needs to be sawed off. Before that maple was cut down in the yard, there wasn't that much sun out here, and so it's stretching out toward the road. If I cut it in half here, I think with the additional sunlight out here, it'll look much better. There's a big overgrown butterfly bush in this spot. I don't know what'll end up happening with it at this point. Like I say, I'm putting a little picket fence about where it is, so I would imagine it'll come out and maybe be replanted. I've had 3 and 4 eastern swallowtail butterflies on this plant at the time, all season, and so they're not invasive in my area like they are in some other areas of the country. So really not a problem for me. I may just relocate this one, but for whatever reason, the swallowtails are drawn to that particular plant. The last piece I'm going to show you is one that I'm super excited about. This is a Empress of China dogwood, and it was actually just kind of languishing out here because this front yard was nothing but that red maple and a lot of weeds, and the weeds were growing right up to the base of this Empress of China dogwood. As soon as the weeds came out from around it and it was given some bed space, it just went absolutely wild. I'm looking forward to this thing blooming in the spring. But what a great plant. This is an evergreen dogwood. If you want to go back on my channel, I think I have a video for this Empress of China dogwood from the old house. But beautiful, beautiful plant. That's the one tree that I have out here in the front yard so far. I am going to put one more back here where this red maple was. I just haven't decided what that's going to be yet. But somewhere up in here, there'll be some sort of tree coming. And like I say, I've got lots more shrubs to put out here, especially in this area where the annuals are that will be fading pretty soon. So that's it for the shrubs and trees that have gone in the front yard so far. Not a lot of pieces really, but I do have, like I say, lots of other pieces that are about to go in, and I'll show I'll do a front yard tour later in the season. I do also have some fruit plants going over here on the other side of the driveway, and those videos will be up very soon, as well as covering annuals and perennials that are in the yard as well that I haven't covered in these shrub and tree videos the last week. Thanks for watching.